So you're probably wondering, how do I really create this passive income business, like where I don't have to work in it at all? Just like all the other influencers try to sell you on TikTok or Instagram. I was gonna tell you that's a bunch of BS, first and foremost, right? Like if you have a business, isn't it kind of an oxymoron? Like you're supposed to be passive, but you're working in the business. The truth is, guys, like you're gonna have a business, you gotta work it, right? If you wanna make money, you gotta work it. But there are ways to leverage your time in that business so that you're not always working in it, so you're not always constantly slaving away, but still can earn money even when you're not working inside of it. So here are a few ideas of how you can do just that. All right, first and foremost, this is one recommendation I get. And just so you know, I'm not like a business consultant or advisor. I'm just going off my 22 years of business experience and what I've learned doing it the hard way as well as the better ways, right? But I'll tell you this from my own experience, having processes and procedures in place are needed. You've got to have those processes and procedures so that you have your team be able to work within those guidelines. And heck, even for yourself, it's nice to have. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're like me, if you're like the visionary, the creative person in your business, processes and procedures probably sound like you might as well just be saying the F word over and over, right? Because the P words, those P words are way worse than the F word, right? And I'm just doing this because there might be some, kids watching this. So I want to keep this clean, but it's true, right? Processes and procedures sound just mind-numbingly horrible. I feel the same way. I'm the same way because I just hate them. But I have learned over time that they are necessary. They're that necessary evil for me, where if I have those things in place, if I have a duplicatable system, now I can actually start putting in people, or that process might even be leveraged. For example, like we have two different branches of our business. We have a consulting business that we do for passive income and investing that way, but then we also have one for like infinite banking that we call Max ROI Infinite Banking. We've learned over time, especially as I started to do it myself, I said, hey, there's shortcuts I can do. There's things I can do to save me time and money if I do it this way and I implement maybe these technologies or I do this. As I start to bring those in, it saves me personally more time. I'll tell you, one of the best tools ever in my business was having a Calendly link, where I can schedule my own calendar. I used to go back and forth emailing people like, hey, let's figure out a time. Instead, it's so awesome to say, go find a time yourself. You can go do it at 2 a.m. while I'm sleeping. I was gonna say taking a nap. I sleep at night, just so you know. Send that link to them and they can book it whenever they want that fits within my calendar. No more back and forth. That saves me all that mind-numbing kind of crap that you have to deal with in the day-to-day operations. So make sure you have good processes and procedures in place. Now, too, as you do that, I think one of the first hires you should have if you're a solopreneur and you're looking to build a business more is have that executive assistant or that number two in your business. You need somebody who can complement your weaknesses with their strengths and vice versa, right? The truth is, like, if you need an executive assistant, and say you are that creative person, maybe you're like very big on, like, very independent, you're just trying to do your thing, you're fast moving or whatever it might be, maybe you're ADD, you probably need somebody who's more on the ground. You basically need a string to your helium balloon is what you need, right? Somebody to keep you on the planet, somebody to keep you grounded, somebody to actually keep you on task. That's what you need. It could be an executive assistant, but it could be a number two. It could even be a partner sometimes that is like EOS world, if you've ever heard of that system. It's like that integrator. If you're the visionary, you need an integrator. You need somebody to really help make sure that the rubber meets the road. You've got the ideas, but then you got somebody to help you implement those ideas. So you need somebody to do that, especially if you're trying to free yourself away from the business. You need that number two person. You need that assistant or somebody to help offload those things and keep you where you're most paid, to be that visionary or that creative or whatever it might be in your business. That's what you need first. So be sure to get that crucial hire. And trust me, I will tell you this from my own experience. Although I was scared to do it, I actually hit over $1 million in my business by myself. Once I got an assistant, it changed my life. It made it so much more enjoyable when I started breaking over into those 7 figures. You don't have to wait like I did. I waited way too long. You could be in your 5 figures or 6 figures a year and it would be worth it. So just trust me when I say that number two person can be a lifesaver for you. All right, so now you have that person in place. Now you start looking for these trusted A players, right? The A players are the people that are self-motivating, they're driving. They actually want to expand their role. They actually want to make it better. These are people that aren't necessarily just trying to do their jobs. We never ever want people on our teams that just really not get fired. They just want to get that minimal benchmark so that they're just valuable enough that you won't fire them because it'd be an inconvenience, but they're not really stretching themselves to where you ever want to pay them a dime more for what their work that they're offering. You need those trusted A players in place. So for every role that you fill in your business, you need to start figuring out, how do I offload it to somebody else? How do I get somebody else to cover that role? When I would look at my own organizational chart when I first started looking at this kind of process, and by the way, I would recommend looking at processes like EOS. A great book recommendation I would give you is called Traction, or if you're more the visionary like I am, Rocket Fuel is another good book as well. Both are great books to learn from. But when I started to see that system and I started to map out my whole organization, I was sitting in every single seat. I was my own CFO. I was my own COO. I was the CEO. I was the owner. I was my own coach, because I was coaching people. I was fulfilling. I was doing all the work within those roles. And so one by one, start to put these A players in those roles to then essentially fire yourself out of those roles to where you get to your ideal role, whatever that might be. For me personally, I like doing this. I like doing the education. I like being in a creative place and innovating and making things better, always improving upon our systems so that we always stay cutting edge and at the top of our game and really ahead of our competition. But if I'm always in the weeds, if I'm always doing that stuff, I have no time or space for creativity. I have really no ability to create more. And I just work, really become a robotic automation myself, right? I become my own little weenie version of AI, right? By doing my own thing and just working my own role or working multiple roles. You need to be in the position that works best for you. Fire yourself from the rest by finding those trusted A players. And you want to make sure you have a good system in place, good hiring process to find those people and be willing to fire them if they don't work out, And the truth is, I'll tell you this much, I'll give this as a bonus. Culture is everything. What are your core values that you want to make sure are instilled in every employee or contractor that works with you? And here's what I'll tell you. Do not teach them core values. They should already have those core values before they come into the business, not try to teach them and change them when they come in. That's like trying to change your spouse. And if you've been married, you know how effective it is trying to change your spouse. It doesn't work. So don't do that, right? So find those good A players that already fit your core values, that already want to excel. They want to be more. In fact, they'll even create their own position and make it better. I'll tell you about my marketing person I have for my company. She's amazing. I've had her for 3 years. And I told her when she started, I said, I don't even know what work to give you. I might only have 10 hours a week or so of work to give you. But I figured if you are as good as I think you are, you'll find ways to create within this role and find ways to do things that maybe I just ignored because I didn't have the bandwidth to do it. And I was right. And she was right. She actually did do that. She now works full-time in our business, an absolute rock star, like absolute rock star in her business because she expanded her role. She's like, I know what you're missing because you came and see it. Because one, I'm a marketing person and you're not necessarily a marketing person, Chris. You're more the innovator. But look, you can do this and we can do this. And look, we can expand the business doing this. And she just took it away. And those are the people that you want to have on your team. Those are the A players you want to look for. All right, so these are the key things. Like if you want to have the right systems and processes in place, that's essential 1. 2, you want to make sure, of course, you've got like that number 2 person. And then as you build that, start to fire yourself from roles by having these key A players. Now, let me give you a little bonus too that will also help you become a lot more passive in your own business. Is that we all know that doing your thing, your main thing should be your main thing in your business, right? Whatever it is, that widget, that product or service that you have, that's your thing. But what I've also learned is that sometimes there's good ancillary things. There's other things that are related to what you offer, but maybe it doesn't have to be you to deliver it. Now, sometimes it makes sense. Like for example, we brought the infinite banking in-house because we couldn't find somebody consistently to stay with our core values of ensuring that people always get the best infinite banking policy every single time. We could never assure that, so we brought it in-house. But there are a lot of other things that we don't do. For example, accounting. Right? I don't want to be a CPA. I don't want anybody else really be a CPA. We've talked about bringing in a house, but it's just so nice when I can refer to a CPA or accounting firm to let them help our clients. It's another value add. I can charge more for our services because they have those connections and things like that. It also, for certain types of businesses, not that one specifically, but for other types of businesses, you might get paid a referral fee. So for example, like if I start referring to business coaches, I could say, hey, listen, can we set up an affiliate agreement where if I send a referral to you, I get a little part of your marketing kickback, whatever that might be. And I'll tell you, 95 times out of 100, maybe even more than that, they'll say, absolutely, I would do that. Because they all know, if anybody's been in business long enough, marketing can be your most expensive thing in your business. If somebody can just spoon feed you people, they're willing to pay for that. I know I do it. Like I'll pay people to send us referrals for our consulting clients and things like that. And so those kind of things can help build your business in a way that creates other revenue streams that doesn't require on your one thing. And that's what's happened with our business too, is that we became a lot more stable as a business because we started having multiple streams of income come from different sources. So think of this question: if not me, then who? Or if you want it to rhyme, say, if not you, then who, right? If it's not you that doing that business, but people are wanting something that can add value for them, can you connect them with another business or an individual, somebody where you could actually share in those profits? Maybe you might even be the person that sells that package and then just pays them on the back end, right? There's lots of ways you can do it. And so I would say this is a big bonus for yourself if you want to be able to make a lot more money and diversify your streams of income and allow you to step back a lot more and take that pressure off of always having to work in your business. Find ways to create those good strategic relationships where everybody gets a win-win. It's actually not even a win-win transaction. It's a win-win-win transaction. It's a win for the person you're referring to. It's a win for the client you're referring to, and it's a win for you as well because you get paid a little bit of that cut in that referral. So that's the key thing I would say for you today if you want to get more passive in your business. Okay, if you like this and you like other key tips as well, you can actually follow our Money Ripples podcast on the Money Ripples podcast channel. You can also follow on iTunes or Spotify, so be sure to check that out now.